Well, hello everybody, and this is Auntie, and I'm here to do my review of season 19, episodes 11 through 12, Married at First Sight on Peacock. Are y'all ready to get into this? Let's do it.
A sweet old auntie. Thank you, subscribers and my nieces and nephews and all of y'all who have been here through the long haul. Shall we get into it? Oh, yes, we shall. It's time for auntie to rise. Sweet old. It's time for auntie to rise. It's time for auntie to
Well, welcome back everybody, and this is Auntie. Let's get into Married at First Sight season 19, episode 11 and 12. Episode 11's title was I'm Done. And I'm going to tell you, hello there, Veronica. This was a very revealing, very revealing episode. I need to put an S on it because all of the things that I kind of figured absolutely came true. Child, I done took pages of notes so we can get through this and talk about this. Okay, so we open up the episode kind of like sort of where we left off at. Hey, Miss Honey, thank you, boo. Where they're all the couples are sitting around and having their conversations and stuff like that. And we got Will and Brittany and Megan are in the bathroom. And of course, Brittany is breaking down and crying about her relationship with Will and how Will talk to her when they was doing the pickleball. And so, she says, Megan knocks on the door. She goes in and she's like, okay, do I look like I'm okay? And Megan is like, y'all are giving off. We're not in a good place. And Brittany says they don't have an emotional connection. Let me tell you something that I have learned is that, you speak things into existence. And one thing about Brittany, she's an overthinker and she has very low self-esteem. So all throughout this season, we have seen her, right? Basically tell Will how to feel, what to say, what's not true, what is true, and all of that, right? She has caused, in my opinion, the demise of her relationship in some ways. Now, I'm not saying that Will is perfect, and don't think that that's what I'm saying. He has a whole lot of things. He's very sarcastic, and he doesn't have care and compassion as it relates to the things that comes out of his mouth, and then he wants to backpedal off of it and stuff, right? But I was like, okay, wait a minute, what's going on? So Brittany says that they don't have an emotional connection. The couples tell Will that it would be a good idea to check on Brittany because, again, he doesn't have that care and compassion, right? There's no unction in him that makes him get up. Oh, okay, hold on. Let me bring them to the front. I got to remember to do that. I be trying to look at y'all comments at the same time, and I be feeling to bring these people up on the screen because I can't make an assumption that everybody watches the show and not and doesn't just come, you know what I'm saying, for the review. And I thank you for being here. So, they tell him, you need to go in there and check on Brittany and everything. So he goes and Brittany says that she is stupid and that she is done with this relationship because, again, as I've said in my previous review of this, Brittany is getting that sixth sense that women have, right, to let them know that when something is not working, when it's time to walk away. But Brittany, I think, is trying to stay in here because she's had a lot of firsts with Will. He was the first person to come to her home. He was the first person for her family to see, her kiss. There were a lot of firsts. But honey, let me tell you, it ain't gonna be the last. It just really seems like that this is like Brittany's first relationship. You know how you're young and in love, it's your first little relationship and you just can't let go? That's what is going on with Brittany. Seems like this is just her first real relationship. And so Will says that he wants to be there with her, and he apologizes for his behavior. He tells her that she is so beautiful, but his actions speak something totally different. Britt said that she appreciates him coming to check on her, not realizing that the only reason why he checked on her was because folk told him to go and check on her. She is not going with her. I said, I put in my notes, why is she not going with her first instinct to end the relationship is baffling to me. Y'all let me know downtown in the comment section if this ain't got y'all all kinds of confused. Like, this is complete chaos. This relationship is just like, it's not a viable relationship, and I just don't understand. Will lies in the bed and tells Brittany that he enjoyed their weekend. Now, when I put Will lies in the bed, I mean Will is literally in the bed lying. He's in the bed lying. Okay. He tells her that he enjoyed the weekend with her. She talks about the girls helping her to realize that she is not crazy about how she's feeling about him, but yet and still she stays in this relationship with him. I know, this is married at first sight and you need to be, really fighting for your relationship and stuff like that and trying to finish the experiment. But if you're not getting fed what it is that you need to be fed in a relationship, it's just time to go. It's been time for Brittany to go. Like simple as that. Will says that he is at a plateau as far as his feelings are towards her. Britt said that she did not choose Will on the wedding day, but she chooses him every day now. Will says that he chooses her too. No, he don't. When she is getting the instincts in her gut that are saying that I'm not his person, he's not feeling me, he doesn't want to be with me, she should be going with this. Now, this is a couple that I was just kind of telling y'all that, I just did not think everything was together. Belinda had issues in her first relationship that was deep enough to swim in, where her children never saw affection in their household. She's always been a cold bitch, in my opinion. She's a very cold person. And so is Jalen, right? We starting to see like little peaks coming out of Jalen. I don't know if y'all seeing them, but I am absolutely seeing that these two women are just not nice women, in my opinion. That's my opinion about them. So Belinda said that she was asked now, she would say yes to Chad. Belinda talks about Chad having two separate wind down. She tells her he tells her that he is not used to the dog being in the bed with her. Now, this is not the first time that we have had an issue with these couples with these pets. And the thing about it is, I have a pet, right? And so my pet doesn't sleep in the bed with me. Every now and then, if I come up like around noontime or something like that, she'll come up and she'll lay like halfway on the end of my bed and halfway on the chaise lounge. She prefers to be on the chaise lounge because she doesn't really usually sleep with me, right? She sleeps with her sister Twyla. So I don't really have that problem. But if we separated the dogs, right, then maybe she would feel like, oh, okay, well, let me get in the bed, right? Even though Maisie is my dog, I call myself Maisie's grandmother, right? Because Maisie is always with my daughter and with Twyla. But if I am in a loving relationship with somebody, I would not be having my dog sleeping in the bed. I think it's a bad habit to have it, but it's a habit that a lot of people, fall into. And there are occasions when I'll wake up and Maisie is at the end of the bed, but not if I got a man. Okay. So he said that he has already talked to her about that dog being in that bed and all of that kind of stuff. Belinda feels like Chad does not want to lay with her in the bed. Chad does not want to lay with you in the bed. He doesn't want to lay with the dog. What part of that is she not understanding, that people who are not accustomed to having animals in their bed it is a huge adjustment for them to adjust. Like, what are we doing here? The thing about it is, y'all probably gonna be shocked with some of the stuff that I say. But as you all know, especially if you have been here with me for a while, I always look past what production wants me to see. I am not going to buy into, right, a story because you put the story there. I'm going to try to do my research, try to look back at things that have been said and things that have been done in a relationship. Belinda is very cold. She is a cold woman. And Chad has been married 3 times. She's been married one, but in a very loveless relationship where she has brought trauma to her own daughter who is on the show. I'm not buying Belinda's innocent story. I am not buying it, and I will tell y'all later on as we go through it. Will says that no, Chad says that it's been difficult in the relationship in front of the cameras. And he said when the lights go out, he will be able to really live in the marriage with her. And we're gonna talk about that too. The next couple that I want to talk about, let me just keep this up. Okay. Let me keep this up. Ray Della's out here, so I ain't gotta watch the chat. So we got Megan and Derek, who no, we don't. We got Jalen and Josh. Jalen and Josh get together with their friends, and they all just kind of kicking a bobo and stuff like that. We still talking about that little outdoor thing that he wants to do. He wants to bring the friends around, I guess, to pressure her. But he at this point he's with her friends, kind of. And I just was like, okay, well, whatever. Both of their masks are slipping. The next couple is Rhonda and Patrick, and they're with the grandkids. And Rhonda, of course, brings up the fact that her stepdad is in the hospital and has been in the hospital. He's been fighting with pneumonia. And so Pat wanted to talk about the weekend with the couples, right? He had asked her, so, what did you think about the weekends with the couples and stuff like that? Rhonda has this way of dismissing Pat. Point blank into the period. If you don't pay attention, you're going to miss it. This man is sitting up there trying to have light conversation with her about the weekend that they just had, just kind of recapping on it. If you went somewhere with your husband or your wife, right, you're going to recap. Instead, she says, Rhonda diverts the conversation into talking about Pat buying tickets for an event with his mom because she cannot not chastise him for something that he has done. She said, well, it was the weekend was okay, but this is what I really want to talk about. You brought some tickets and you didn't ask my permission. You didn't run it past me. You didn't get, my signature on this. You didn't get, like, what is going on? This woman talks about how he dismisses her and doesn't feel heard when Rhonda is the main perpetrator of not hearing what somebody has to say and diverting the conversation. She totally changed the conversation to talk about Pat buying tickets for an event with his mom and did not tell her in advance. He did not ask her if she was free to join them. He just bought the tickets. But you know what? That's kind of cute and romantic in a way, as long as it's not something that's habitual that he is continuing to do. It's nothing wrong with spontaneity. Like, everybody wants some spontaneity or spontaneity, however you pronounce it, in their relationship. So I couldn't understand why she's so rigid that she could not accept, okay, well, he was being spontaneous. He made it spontaneous, but let me make sure I clean my calendar off. I got a lot of people that call me and be like, okay, girl, I got X, Y, and Z going on. I brought us some tickets. I just did that with a friend. So anyway, she just does not want any type of spontaneity in her relationship with him. And Rhonda tells him he got to coordinate everything with her. That's just being a boss. That's being bossy and controlling and manipulative. They are having a conversation about the calendar, and Pat just walks away without a look back or a thought. And I don't blame him because you get sick of trying to do something and be nice. There may have been somewhere in a conversation where she said that she liked this stuff and Pat did it. And I don't blame him. I would have walked away from her ass too. And she said this was something that was important to her, and she feels like what she is saying, it does not he does not care one fucking bit, and it's hurtful for her. Okay, well, just be her boo, because how many times have you hurt Pat? And did you tell Pat that this was, did you lay down the line that I'm rigid and I'm stubborn and I'm not going to change? If you do anything spontaneous for me, I'm not going to flip. I'm just like, I'm not. I'm going to be this rigid old woman, and I'm going to want to control and manipulate the situation that's going on in our relationship. I want to be in control of the conversation. I want to be control of the activities that we participate in. She's such a bitch, okay? She really is. So, Pat says that he thought they were having a conversation for a while and that he was agreeing, right? Because she said that there was something important to her and she feels like what she is saying, he does not care about, right? She said that he did not acknowledge it. It's like he is having these conversations in his head and he does not care. He can't please you. It doesn't make a difference what he does. It's not pleasurable to you. It is not until he brings something up to her attention that she wants to show any affection or any kindness. This is a mean, evil woman, in my opinion. Pat said that there is a lot going on and he's trying to navigate being himself and meet her ass in the middle. To him, he is doing everything he believes he needs, and she zeroes into what he is not doing right. And I'm telling you right now, this is what I have observed from this woman. I completely agree with Pat. Not that I feel sorry for him, because I think that if push came to the shove, he would cuss her out. But I just did not see, where he was making, like, oh my God. She totally dismissed him. And she always dismisses him. And if she's bringing up a subject and he is trying to have a well-rounded conversation where it's give and take in the conversation, she sees that as him not listening to her. Like, girl, you can't win with her. She is one of those people that you cannot win with. That's why she's been by herself for 25 years. So he says to him, he is doing everything he believes she needs, and she zeroes into what he's not doing. He feels like he is listening. Pat says that despite his efforts, Rhonda feels like he does not care about her, and it hurts him. He does not know if Rhonda is not trying enough or that Rhonda's expectations are too high. Rhonda's expectations are not too high, they're unreasonable, and they're very, very self-centered, in my opinion. Rhonda says that actions speak louder than words, and her actions have absolutely told a story about a woman who is miserable, who really does not want to be with a man. She doesn't want him in her space. She craves being alone and only having him over there for, a little nightcap or so. If that is what she is looking for, that's what she should have signed up for. So here we are, 13 days to decision day. Megan and Derek talk about their pregnancy and if they should tell people. She is currently 14 weeks pregnant, so that means she got pregnant on week one. Oh my God. So that means that she is, just 1 second, y'all. I don't even know how to turn the ringer on because she can call right back. There you go. Um, so that means they're only on like week 15. So if she's 14 weeks pregnant, it appears that she's been pregnant since week 1. Now we get back to Belinda and Chad. Come on, you gotta move faster than this. Why you can't? Oh, there they go. They right there in your face. Belinda calls Jaden to tell her about the difficulties that she is having with Chad and the scheduling of the show. Now I'm gonna say some stuff in this whole situation that y'all may not like, but y'all know me. I'm gonna say it anyway. Okay. But Linda mentions that the show told them that they did not have to film. Belinda made appointments to get her hair done. She is showing Jalen on the phone on FaceTime her hair. As a matter of fact, that was one of the first things that Jalen commented on was her mother beautiful hair and that she had gotten it done. And she said that Chad got upset because they changed her schedule. I would be too. Get the scheduling together. Period. These people have real lives. Yes, they are taping a show, but these people have real lives and stuff that they need to do in their life. Get your together, Peacock. Period. That's on period. If I commit to a time that I'm going to be there and I'm there, then you need to be committed to the time that you're not going to be there and don't show up. Don't think that you could just call me at the last minute and ask me to be ready to film for 18, 20 hours maybe. Nope. No. So Will is having his birthday and everything, and girlfriend went all out for the birthday. She made arrangements for his mother to come into town. Will said that he likes very small gestures and thanks Britt for it. What Britt did was not a small gesture, but this goes to show you how this mofo really feel about her because making arrangements for his mother to come in, having a reservation at the restaurant. You could see that there was some gifts that was given to him at the table. She made sure he had a cake. She made a special day. But he said small gestures. Now like I said, y'all, I will pay attention to what you said. Order in the court. I will pay attention to what it is that you. These were not small gestures from Brittany. She went all out for him. She went all out for this mofo. Will's mother says that he is a private person, that even on decision day, she ain't gonna recognize him and know who he is. She said it's very difficult to find out and know who Will is. Will is combative and everything else in his conversation. He's very sarcastic and flippant. Okay, point blank and downtown to the period up on that. Okay, now we back over there with Chad. Chad says that he talked to a friend today and it was good, right? Him and Miss Belinda are together. So she asked him how was his day. He tells her that the day was good and he talked to a friend because he needed to talk to somebody. He said because at the end of the day, he's at his rope with this bull from the network. And I ain't mad. We all know that there are a lot of things that are probably going on behind the scenes that we don't know or nothing about. But one thing Chad is doing for show is exposing this. He said he's sick of the mess. He is trying to run a business or businesses, and they are changing the thing. Belinda sits there and acts. And so, when the first time I saw Chad pop out the box, right, with Belinda, y'all remember when a film crew was prompting them on what to say, and we saw him kind of snap them up and say, "Let us talk." And then he ended the thing, and that's when Belinda was uncomfortable with him. I kind of suspected in the back, but I said, okay, let me just go with what I'm seeing out here. He was saying something about the cast then. I felt like she did not like the way that he talks to people because I think that he does probably talk to people poorly because he's a businessman. He used to being in charge, and they don't seem like they got this together. So he had to talk to a friend about the stuff that's going on behind the scenes as far as casting and stuff like that is involved. He said, I am done with this fucking show. I'm done with it. And it has nothing to do with you. So he tried to reassure Belinda, this don't have nothing to do with you. I'm tired of it. And here's the thing, when he says something to Belinda about it, this ain't Belinda first time hearing from him. This is not the first time that she's heard him say that he is tired of this. This is not the first time that, because they showed some bean footage of, when they was getting dressed and everything. And I mean, going to bed, he was like, okay, we getting ready to get dressed for bed. Y'all get up out of here. Like like you got to respect people's space, their time and all of that. If you got a time that you say you're going to be um filming and that time is over, bye. This just really exposed, in my opinion, how he is tired of the unprofessionalism, in my opinion. I don't blame, I'm telling you, I wasn't mad at him because we have heard horror stories where, like, even with, because all of this, I believe, is under Kinetics. I'm not sure. Since it's on Peacock, I don't know if it's still under Kinetics. But we have seen that people have filed lawsuits against these companies. And he's got a real life. They back at home. He did what he was obligated to do. We saw at the wedding that he was, saying something about, griping or whatever and standing his ground and creating boundaries. And I'm going to tell you right now, you better create some because if you don't, they're going to just wear you out. Belinda says, I know, but I mean, all of this is no. So he says, I said, I'm done with this fucking show. I'm done. But it has nothing to do with you. And so Belinda was like, well, why would you say something like that? And you're done with the show. This is how we met. And Belinda says, I know, I just don't understand what you feel has gone wrong when nothing has really gone wrong, in her opinion. Chad says that he didn't say anything was wrong. He said, I'm tired of the bullshit. Chad says he didn't say anything wrong, right? He says, I'm a 54-year-old combat vet. This is the insight. He says, I'm a vet. I'm 54 years old. I've been in combat. I know how to take orders, is what he's saying. And he says, and I'm tired of being talked to like I'm a effing child. The process would be quite frank. It's been a pain in the arse. If they are not making their deadlines, not keeping up with the time, changing the situation, and you got a full-time job or you running corporations, you don't have time for that fool la la. You tell me to get here at 8. Let's say they cancel, but then they reschedule you for 8 the next morning. Well, how about I got to go to work? Chad has said that he has had to move his customers around. He's had to, call these people, which is unprofessional, to call them at the last minute and ask them to reschedule when he's doing business. So we see Chad on the beam footage saying, okay, can we just tell them to leave so we can get ready for bed? He said, it's difficult for me at my age and my stage. I'm used to being in charge. My life isn't up to them. Our life isn't up to them. I'm not going to rearrange my schedule anymore. You better go ahead and tell it. Chad, you better go ahead on and expose it. I'm telling you right now, I ain't mad at nothing Chad said. Not a thing. And I'm telling you right now, I ain't making no excuses for a network that has been doing this for 19 seasons. If you say that taping and filming starts at 8, it starts at 8. If you say it's from 8 to 10, at 10 o'clock, I'm rolling out. I don't care what photographer's not here. I don't care that I signed a contract. You can kiss my whole butt. I signed a contract to abide by the schedule. And if you over that schedule, guess what? Auntie is out. Everybody handles unprofessionalism a different way. And from what Chad is saying, I ain't sure because I never heard her really say, first, I never really heard her dispute it. I think it's the way that he's going about it. The embarrassment that she, this, the secondhand embarrassment. Moreover, when they talked to Dr. Pia, she basically admitted to it in my agreement. And people feel like, in my opinion, sometimes, my experience, people feel like because they feel like they doing a little something for you that you're supposed to bite your tongue, stand down, and don't complain. Well, guess what? There's a new Chad in town. Show up late if you want to. Keep changing the schedule if you want to. This isn't something that is new. I'm sure that Chad has said something about this before. He said, my life isn't up to them. I'm not going to rearrange my schedule anymore. He said, it is driving me crazy. It's creating anxiety that I don't need. He said, I'll be absolutely thrilled when we are done with all this and living our own lives on our own time. This whole thing, he said, hit me in my gut, and I don't even know how to deal with it. I've been trying to be accommodating as possible, trying to tell my clients, I got to change this or I have to do that. He said, I am not doing it anymore. That is a grown 50-year-old man setting boundaries, but people don't understand boundaries. You know what people will say? Oh, he knew he had a contract with them. A contract and an agreement for you to show your up on time. I got a contract on the schedule because I've done theater. There's a contract on that you do so many rehearsals. You do these rehearsals. These rehearsals are from XYZ day to XY. The closer you get to the show, the tighter your schedule get. But don't call me while I'm at work at my good job and tell me you need to film now. That's not part of the contract. It's not even a breach of contract if I don't show up. People they got to do. And like he said, he's used to being in control. He used to running stuff. I ain't mad at him. He said, I'm not doing it anymore. So Belinda says, okay, help me understand what you mean by I'm not doing it anymore. Never did she stop. Never did she correct anything he said. Never did she stop and say, you're not, because Belinda's quick to throw you under the bus. Never did she say, you're not rearranging your meetings with your clients. Never did she say, you didn't talk to them about this. Never. She went straight to What do you mean you're not doing this anymore? She took it personal as if he was saying, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing you anymore. Are you saying you're just not going to do any of this anymore? Well, she was talking about herself. Like, what exactly are you doing based on what they sent us today? Chad said, my life isn't going to run on that schedule anymore. We're done. That's what I'm saying. We're done. I'm done with them. They're good people, but I'm done. So Belinda says, okay, but you said you're done, not saying that for a long time because the schedule keeps moving around. Wait a minute, hold on. Let me make sure. Okay. She said, so the schedule keeps moving around. But her issue was she didn't want him speaking for her to say that she would not rearrange her schedule. She says, I'm not bothered by it in the same way that you are, acknowledging that it is happening. They're changing the schedule around. She says it just don't bother her like it bothered him. But is she an entrepreneur or is she working for somebody and got PTO? She never said that what he was saying was a lie. Never. She just did not want him talking for her. And she wanted him to clarify, what do you mean you're not doing it anymore? Boundaries. She said there he so she said, I don't want you speaking for me. I'm not bothered by it in the same way you are. I'm bothered by it, but not in the same way. She said, you're bothered by it, so speak for yourself, not for me. He said, okay, I won't, but I'm sick of it too. I think they're driving things and trying to create a wedge. Belinda said, wait, so you think you and I were brought together just so people could try to drive a wedge between us? Because we're not going to let that happen. He says, I don't she says, I don't think they're driving a wedge between no, he said, I don't think that they're driving a wedge between us. I'm talking about Jalen and Josh. So Belinda was like, well, how can you speak for them? He said, I'm not speaking for them. I'm just telling you what they told me. They're all doing fine, she said. Chad said they trying to do fine. But Josh's language today was different than what you're telling me. So Belinda says, then I'd be more than happy to talk to Jalen and Josh myself to find out. Now she's defensive, she's angry, she's argumentative because she believes that her daughter and Josh are doing fine, but they not. They have had a little come to Jesus meeting, if you will, between the two of them about this strong man mess he want to do and her not wanting to jump out of planes and all of that kind of stuff. They have had a meeting where they was basically up in each other's face, cutting each other off. Things are not peachy keen between Jalen and Josh. And while he said that I texted him and was talking to Josh about something, Jalen, when she talks to her mother, say that didn't happen. I saw one text message between them, but she don't know what these men talk about when they get together, nor does she know if Josh did not delete those text messages, because guess what, at the end of the day, Jalen and George, both of their masks are slipping. So she says, then I'd be more than happy to talk to Jalen and Josh myself to find out how they feel because I know they don't want this to turn into a battle between us and them. And I'm just saying, I'm not going to play that game anymore. Chad says, I am glad I love you and I'm glad I met you, but I don't give a about this show anymore. So Belinda says, this whole thing makes me take a step back. Like I just don't even know about staying in this relationship, basically, with him. And Chad said, that's fair. I'm just done with it. But hopefully, you're not done with me because her attitude, she immediately put a wall up. She didn't even consider what he was saying. As we all know, everything ain't perfect between Jalen and Josh. They don't even know if they're going to stay together, if they could come to a common ground. This man didn't even write vows for her. Pay attention. He didn't even want to write vows for her. She said, you ain't got to write a long dissertation. Just give me something that's 3 minutes long. He refused. He could not tell that woman how he felt about her. He couldn't and was unwilling to and did not move, but yet he wants her to move. He talked down on her job and said that her job was an activity and adventure because he wanted to compare this going to this strongman thing to her job. Things are not going well between Jalen and Josh like we think they are. Everybody want a love story, but don't nobody want to face reality. Well, I'm here to help myself and y'all, and if you're interested, to face reality. Josh and Jalen, they have a date with the friends. When Jalen and Josh are asked what they like to do together or the same, they both hesitated and couldn't even answer the questions. Belinda, they both were sitting up there looking stupid. But you want to call Chad because you mad at him a liar. Hmm. 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 They were stuttering all through that table. They came up with an answer that was good enough to back their friends down, but everybody had the side eye. When Jalen said that they are two different, and there is an uncomfortability vibe in the whole entire room. Megan and Derek, where they at? Maybe and Derek babysits some babies because they're trying to get ready for motherhood. Next, Britt and Will. Will is leaving for work. Brittany tells him she wants to be with him for life. They kiss and he get the hell on up out of there. Now we're back to Megan and Derek. He asks her if there's anything that bothers her about having a particular gender. She says she sees that boys are sticky. They talk about having the three children. He really is stuck on this number three. I don't know if that's his lucky number. If he played the Powerball, I don't know what it is, but for some reason he's stuck on three kids. Pat and Rhonda. Pat meets with his friend Adrian. Now this was a set. Now this was sad. This was sad. They met with his friend Adrian. He told him that he has been in a struggle, particularly for the last week. bring my notes back up here so I can see them. Adrian asks him why the last week, and Pat replies that they have had some difficult conversations, and he thinks even though he has been making an effort to meet her where she wants him to, there are some disconnects they still have, despite everything he's trying to do. He says that he said for some reason when they talk they miss each other in the conversation, and he felt a lot of hopelessness in this relationship. Get the out, Pat. Get out. He said he has been friends with Adrian for 44 years, and when it comes to Rhonda, he is perplexed and frankly does not know what to do. He feels like a failure in this relationship. He's in a negative head space, and he is on eggshells and has anxiety, and I don't blame him for being in that place, because this is the kind of environment that Rhonda, in my opinion, creates, which is why she probably has not been with anybody for 25 years. And it is amazing how we can see. I'm going to say it, you say it, Auntie, you always do. It's amazing how people can see the anxiety in Pat because it's blatant and it's right in your face, but can't see the anxiety in Chad. With a woman who don't support him, don't stand by him, and don't try to understand him, leaves him out there by himself when she probably is. It's it's amazing to me. Adrian tells him that he has to feel safe. Rhonda has never created an environment for Pat to feel safe. She's always criticizing him every little thing that he does. Rhonda comes in, she's all bubbly and all of that kind of stuff, all out of pocket, in my opinion. Adrian talks about what he is going through, and instead of Rhonda asking him and not making it about herself, she tells Adrian that her stepdad has been sedated. Adrian was talking himself, and Rhonda dismissed Adrian and started talking about what she wanted to talk and about her stepdad. She has a tendency to overlook and underhear. She did it to Adrian. Adrian immediately knew what environment he was in, and he knew that he had to talk a little harshly with his friend and make her feel like she was right. I don't think Adrian believed a goddamn thing that was coming out of his mouth, because I didn't. And if that was my friend, I would have told him, don't do that. Don't sell out at this table and throw me under the bus. And that's what I thought Adrian did. Adrian, she said she does the very thing I said. I wrote in parentheses. She does the very thing that she gets on Pat about, making the conversation about herself. She says Pat does not listen to her. She said when he apologizes or when they talk, it's the same blah, blah, blah. She talks about his fake vulnerable place. Pat brings up something else. He tells Pat that he has to fix it. Rhonda leaves the table. She's in the bathroom crying. How embarrassing. Because she believes that Adrian got it just like that, and Pat hasn't gotten it in 15 weeks. She said, this is effing sad. No, Adrian understood what he was up against. Pat doesn't. Pat is in a relationship with you and can walk away at the end of the day like Adrian can. Pat feels like he can't win. The crying is so embarrassing coming from Rhonda. Rhonda says she feels like he just does not care. Pat says that she has taken all the interactions of you don't care and you don't give a you know what. He is trying to make it work like every other relationship and completely loses himself. Trying to please somebody else, he loses himself. And he said he can't do that again. And he has been on eggshells where he will never be good enough for Rhonda. How many of y'all agree? Let me know downtown in the comment section with a thumbs up, a check mark, or something. Rhonda said that he gets permission to be who he is. And I put not true in all caps. He doesn't have permission to be an astronaut. He doesn't have a permission to be into space. He doesn't have permit. He don't have permission. He got to get hers. Thank you so much, Miss Honey. Thank you so much, Rhonda. Season 19, episode 12. Decision day is near. Megan and Derek call her parents over. Oh, let me bring them up on the screen. Megan and Derek, where they at? Megan and Derek call the parents and they have, a little meal that they have prepared for the parents to come in. And, the mom and dad are glad to be there. The mom is, Megan gets up and tells them that she has something. They're thinking it's a pat. She said, well, at least you did not come in here saying you were pregnant. And Megan and Derek, face freezes, but Megan keeps continuing to run through it. And come to find out, it is a little wooden box, and in that wooden box are pregnancy tests that she peed on. She peed on them. I just was like, okay, this is just so nasty. I don't know why people pass them around and show them to people. Take a picture. We believe it. So of course, the parents, although they were saying, the mother jokingly said, you wasn't talking about being pregnant. They are all excited about this baby. Later on in this episode, Megan basically tells Derek, we ain't got to be together to be parents of this baby. Okay. Mom, so Megan, is due. Her expected due date is between November 29th and December 3rd. Day 50. Let's go back. Pat and Rhonda. So Rhonda says that Rhonda starts talking about, Adrian basically telling Pat that he needed to be himself. He needed to be free to be himself. So she wants to go back over that. And she says she noticed his reaction and asked him why he feels like he can't be himself around her. Rhonda, how about we guys? How about we do a little quiz, a little pop-up quiz? What about you would make Pat feel like he can't be about himself? Has it been a many times that you have chastised him, cussed him out in the car, all sad, like Rhonda's like literally be cussing? Pat says that it's not just her. He always gives her a pass. He always gives her a pass. And then he went down the story. And when he started talking the story, I was afraid for him. Because he started talking about how he was an overachiever and he came from a military family and he had to be successful. He felt like he needed to be successful. And this he wanted to be the best of everything and he lost himself. He tells Rhonda that he has felt a lot of pain in this experience and a lot of anxiety. And he said, and those are not me. Rhonda says that the pain is what we have to experience, and that is life. No, Rhonda, not the kind of pain that you putting him through. Not when you are with somebody that everything that they say out of their mouth makes you feel bad about yourself. That's not the kind of pain that you need to be in. Pat should have been out this experiment. I don't see why the people feel shameful to walk away. I be up out of that camp. Okay. And so Pat says that there are times when he feels completely open to being himself, but at other times he goes into, excuse me, protect mode. Rhonda asks if he can be himself at all times. Now while he with you, he can. Next couple, Chad and Belinda. After their conversation, Belinda said that they did not talk about anything. She said that the next day he slept at his own house. Now she feeling some kind of way. Now she feeling some kind of way. She said so they haven't seen each other and haven't had a conversation to discuss anything. They started talking to Dr. Pia. She asked her, "What's going on? Y'all down there fighting and stuff? What's going on?" So Belinda says, "We had a couple of hard days after we left the retreat. And the other night when we had sushi, he said he's upset about the schedule, all of the production, all the cameras, all these timelines that just don't exist in normal life." Chad said it just bubbled over. Like it just got to be too much. When I had to call my customers and partners and keep making excuses and changing the schedule. He said it all just it bubbled over and it overwhelmed her. Instead of her being having care and compassion, she just can't pull it up out of her crack, which is probably again why she had the relationship that she did with her first husband. Now we know, as I said, that Pat has been married 3 times, so we know he got problems, but his problems is about control. She don't care about this man. And now she thinks he's a liar. He said, "I think given more time in a more natural and normal situation, things will be better." He said, "I am not comfortable with this process." So Dr. Pierce said, if you want to emphasize with the production team, they're not trying to be disrespectful. Admission. They're unprofessional, but they're not trying to be, is what I heard. Y'all let me know downtown in the comment section if that's what you heard. They're not doing it intentionally. They're not doing it to be malicious. Dr. Pierce said they're not trying to be disrespectful of your schedule. There are just so many moving parts, but your cash should not fill those moving parts. Your cast should not be inconvenienced by that. But then you got people who will not stand up for themselves. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm very proud that he is. Now, can his tone and his manner be checked out a little bit? Absolutely. But I ain't mad at him at all. At all. She said, "So I hope that you can try not to take it personally, as though this is some sort of dismissal of Chad or your schedule." She said, "Can you believe that?" Chad said, "Okay, I try to believe that." But Linda says, "But he also said he feels like there are wedges put between Josh and Alan, and I just don't see that. I went straight to the source." No, the source was Josh, not Jalen. The source was Josh, not Jalen. You didn't go directly to the source. You went to your daughter, who saw a text message. I'm sorry, but I believe Chad. And I believe when this show is open, Chad gonna bust this ride wide open. I would love to interview with Chad. He gonna bust this open. Watch and see. Mark my words, mark the video. November the 13th, 2025, 7:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Chad is going to come and bust the whole thing out. Watch. And I'm going to be here for it. But Linda said I went direct straight to the source, and those things weren't true. Chad said, I don't believe I said anything that wasn't true. They are trying to create a wedge. We too family oriented, and they want us to have our own separate relationships. Plus, Jalen and Josh are having issues, Mama. He said, in fact, I talked to Josh about the way things were getting wedged. Dr. Pierce said, right, and you said you sent a text. And that's how Josh responded to you, that he agreed with you. So Chad was like, yeah. So Dr. Pierce was like, okay. She was like, but Belinda, you have it in your mind that he's not telling the truth. So if that's the case, there's no point in arguing about it. Chad said, exactly. I know who I talked to. Okay. All right. Is it okay? He said, I know who the I talked to. See, when he said text message, she expected it to be a thread. Won't no thread. And if y'all think that men don't talk, they gossip more than women. Trust me, I got brothers. Where was you at? So Chad said, exactly. I know who I've talked to. That's where I'm coming from. Belinda was like, and that's why I'm struggling. Chad said, I do believe I've been honest. I'm sorry she feels like I lied to her. Maybe it's just a difference in perspective. It wasn't about me trying to lie. So Belinda was like, but that's why I'm saying it's a difference in perspective. Chad was like, yup, you're right. It sure is. So Belinda was like, 100%. So Dr. Pibb was like, so if you're both operating from different perspectives, each of you has your own version of what happened. Then what he's saying is, from my memory, it happened this way. It wasn't me trying to lie to you. And what's really important here, Belinda, is whether you believe he's trying to lie to you, manipulate you, or just not be honest. So Belinda was like, because he keeps saying, when you're not here, when you're out of this situation, when you're not home, I'm home, it'll be different. But now I hear him saying things that are true. And I start thinking, if he's saying things to me now that aren't true, then how true is it that things will be better when we leave here? I just feel like I'm at a place where I don't trust it at all. And I was thinking decision day was a yes, was a yes. And right now, I'm thinking decision day is not a yes. Man, when I tell you his whole face cracked, his whole face cracked, his whole face cracked. He was shocked and hurt. He couldn't even hide it. Yes, he was, Miss Honey. He was devastated. Yes. Chad started to tear up. He was devastated. She said, I'm at a place where I'm just frustrated because I definitely don't want to be lied to. Dr. Pierre, so going forward, can you both be in agreement to be honest and direct with one another? Both of them said yes. So Dr. Pierce said, is your relationship, is your marriage, is your relationship, your marriage, is that the experience with Chad worth you taking a risk of choosing to believe him? Belinda said, I think that what I'm trying to figure out, I am willing to put myself out there and take that chance because I keep putting myself aside to make him feel comfortable. And so Dr. Pierre was like, make him feel comfortable. What does that look like? So she said, I feel like I don't really like have intimacy with him because his wind down is a drink and that helps him sleep. So for me, I'm just laying in the bed by myself. Chad said, hold the God. Chad said, hold on. He said, I mean, there is a fairly large puppy dog that likes to sleep in between us. Just like you said, you're trying to protect my feelings and not hurt my feelings. You know how much you love that dog. And I'm not going to go in there and say you need to kick the dog out the bed. I mean, I'm just not going to do that. I done talked to you about this motherfucking dog. I've talked to everybody about the dog. You know the dog in the bed. You used to be laying up in the bed with the dog there as a comfort. But right now you got a man kick the motherfucking dog out the bed. But no, I ain't gonna say that to you. So when you say you're trying to protect my feelings, how about I'm trying to protect yours? With your dog laying up in the bed. Dr. Pibb was like, so Belinda, you said you don't want to, you do want to spend time with him? Belinda was like, yeah, I do want to spend time with him. She was like, okay, well, it's starting to move towards a level of communication that I don't think is going to be productive right now. So what I want to remind the both of you is this takes work. This takes a whole lot of hard work. So Belinda was like, yeah. So Dr. Peel was like, so what I encourage you to do is to keep having your conversations, even the hard ones. Are you both willing to keep working on that? Chad said, absolutely. Dr. Peel said, okay, so do you feel underneath all this that there's something that can be worked on in this gap relationship? And so Belinda was like, I'm willing to do the work with him, but I still feel like I took a step back and it's going to take time. So Dr. P was like, I think that's absolutely reasonable for that to be where you are right now. So take some time because this is a lot. And we've unpacked a whole lot today. But this don't need to be the end of the conversation. If while you're processing everything, we talked about something else comes up, write it down and we can talk about it when I'm available. I'm always available. Okay. So Belinda was like, okay. Chad was like, okay. Chad said, I don't know what the future looks like between me and Belinda. All I know is that in a relatively short time, I don't know if we're going to stay together or get a divorce. I cannot be the only one trying to make this work, the only one willing to fight through it. There's an absolute chance that this could be a success, but I just don't know what she wants. Belinda, who just told Dr. Pia that she was going to do the work and she promised to do the work, backpedaled, popped, did some payback, and went and stayed at her house. She decided I just can't be with her. So she stays at her own house. Oh my God. So 5 days before decision day, Britt and Will, they are on a boat ride that Brit thinks is romantic. Britt thinks that things are have turned to 180 degrees difference. She was guarded. After talking to Dr. Calvin and Dr. Pia, things have changed between them. Britt thinks that Will is with her out of obligation, but for her, it's about feelings that can fade. She discredited Will feelings. I put in my notes by her making the comment that she did, saying that he is there because of obligation and she is there out of love, totally discredited what Will said and how he feels. Will run. Chad went home the night before. She went out, went home the day after. You may have just came. No, you ain't just came in. You've been here. Derek and Megan go car shopping. Will and Brett play volleyball. I won't interested. And now we're back. 5 days before decision day. 4 days now. Chad calls Belinda over. Come on over to my place. Come on over to my place. Mm-hmm. Come on and go with me. Come on over to my place. It'd be so nice, baby. Yeah. So Chad, Belinda comes in. Chad is on edge. She on edge. They have agreed to get together. He canceled all his appointments for her. He even took and put the laptop away. That's me. If I put my laptop away and put my stuff away, then I'm serious. I'm listening. I'm in a listening mode. Trust me, it's sacrificial, but I'm in that mode. He puts his laptop away. She comes in. She's awkward. She don't know how to sit. She don't know how to sit. She don't know how to be. So chances that conversation that we had was an intense conversation with Dr. Pia. I understand how you feel about my behavior last week, and I agree. I'm sorry. But honestly, it's kind of a gut punch for me. I knew we were going to be talking about the restaurant and some of the other stuff that we've been going through, but I had no idea, and I didn't know you were going to bring up Levi being in the bed. Belinda said, I see you complained about the barking, but you've never complained about him being in the bed. Jesse, what the? He said, what the hell? He said, I have talked to you about that dog being in the bed, and you didn't even complain about the barking. I said I need to find a way to resolve it because he can't be barking all day. She said, he don't bark all day long when I'm there. He said, how you know? Because when I walk up to the apartment when you're not there, he's barking his head off. And that's what dogs do. The mailman, the Amazon man, the neighbors going in their own house, minding their own business, people walking up and down the street, they're barking. Belinda, that's what dogs do, unless your dog just ain't got no bounce to the ounce and ain't got no bark to the bark. Dogs bark, especially when you not home. Let's say me and my daughter leave the house. Y'all, I'm telling y'all, I'm not lying. I've moved my furniture around in my living room so many times to try to get them out of my window. In the front of my house, I have a picture. I think they call it a picture window. It's almost floor to ceiling. I had to move a sofa there because I had a credenza that was there and they was banging it up against the window and I was scared it was going to break the window. Both of my dogs are like, ooh, I think they like 45, 50 pounds. I don't know because their weight fluctuate. Let somebody walk down the street and they tall. They stand up on the back of the sofa. They are humongous, and then you walking past a picture window, and they look like their heads are on the ceiling of the house. They are barking their entire ass off, and they're not playing. Because why people think that standard poodles are the prettiest things, and they are. They have the prettiest slide and glide. They are hunting dogs. They will bark until they don't have a bark anymore. Go and get some water, recover, and come right back and lay in wait for anything that's going to fly. A squirrel, a groundhog, a rat, a deer, a rabbit, a person, a mailman. I don't care. They going to bark. And guess what she got? A poodle. It's either a poodle or a doodle. They have a hunting instinct that make them think that they need to hunt and protect. I know that dog is up in there barking, howling, scratching, flipping, dipping, and everything else. My male people have learned. Let me just go ahead on and put the male in their chair. I've had to go down the street to meet DoorDash. And she gonna sit up there and say the dog don't bark all day? I be damned. Belinda, you just being combative. Just say you don't like Chad no more. Or anymore. Proper diction. I need to see some bean footage of the dog barking all fucking day. Because if your dog is a poodle or a doodle, it's barking all day. Trash men. Everything, they bark. But that's what they trained to do. Now, when we're home, we stop it. I don't know if y'all heard my daughter and the dog. The dog ran upstairs. She told her, if we home, we can check them. When we ain't home, they out of control. Our dogs know how to turn doorknobs. We have tried everything to keep them in the back of the house. They turned the doorknobs and let themselves out. We have some doors on the other side. That's the latch one. You just hit the little latch on it. They know how to open that. They smart as They don't have opposable thumbs. If they had opposable thumbs, they would be rough house in the neighborhood. Anyway, I just thought that I would tell y'all that her dog barking all day, all day, and will bite. Because I be telling people, don't play with them. They're going to bite you. Anyway, Belinda said, you said you've complained about the barking, but you've never complained about him being in the bed. Chad said, I don't know what you talking about. I talked to you about the dog being in bed, and I didn't even complain about him barking. I just said I need to find a way to resolve it because he can't be barking up in this all day. Belinda said he doesn't bark all day when I'm here. Chad said, how do you know? Because when I walk up to the apartment, when you're not there, he's barking his off. When you walk to the door, he barks. When you're coming out the garage, baby, he's barking up in this. Okay. She said, but you don't know that when he's by himself, he's barking all day. He said, sweetheart, we are not going to be able to talk. She said, we are talking, but you're telling me things you don't actually know for sure. Like all day long when nobody's there. You don't know that. Chad said, this is already going nowhere. I was hoping we could actually move forward, but you don't even want to work on this and try to save it or not because you're trying to fake the funk and act like the dog ain't barking. Roll the bean footage, Peacock. Belinda said, I told you I was willing to work on this. He was like, last night when you said you were willing, but do you want to? Because if I'm willing to work on something, it's because I want to, Belinda. Belinda said, so what do you want to do? You say you want a conversation, but you don't want me to participate in it. I'm trying to tell you what I think, and you're arguing every point up in here. Why is it that when you tell me what you think, I'm arguing, but when I tell you what I think, suddenly we're not getting anywhere? And Belinda was like, because we're not getting anywhere with this. No, Chad, no, Belinda said, because we're not getting anywhere with this. Chad said, okay, then I'm done. Belinda was like, that's fine. Chad said, that's fine too. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Belinda stands, frustrated her, Chad. Belinda walk away. She out to that. Chad said, look, I love Belinda, but I don't appreciate this. I want to stay married, but I'm not going to stay married to somebody who I can't have a rational conversation with every time there's tension in the room. Rhonda and Pat. Rhonda's stepfather has passed away, and she's devastated and she's crying. May God rest his soul in peace. Amen. Chad said, yeah, I got to take a phone call in my office this morning. It was nice to get out and clear my head a little bit. I don't know. I just want to take a day from work so I could be here today so we could talk to Dr. Pia. Let's see how this goes. So they making small talk, talking about the outfit look good and all that, and other couples need to go to counseling, yada yada yada. So Dr. P was like, "Hey y'all, what's going on? Y'all quiet? What's going on?" So Belinda was like, "Well, we tried having a conversation, and he apologized for his behavior the last couple of days, but then it didn't go so well. I felt like we had hit a point of diminishing returns." So Chad was like, I mean, I just feel like the whole conversation is controlled. Like it's only going to happen the way you want it to happen. Shots fired. Shots fired. Shots fired. Dr. P was like, so when you feel stressed, how do you usually cope? Chad was like, typically I go to the range or I'll go to the gym. Sometimes I'll go fishing. Just being outside, it really helps me. So Dr. P was like, so what I'm hearing, Chad, is that you haven't been able to cope in the ways that you normally do because of production schedule, work, and everything else. You've been completely out of your element. Chad was like, yeah. Why couldn't Belinda? Okay. Dr. Piercy, I want to give you the opportunity to say what you need and how both of you all can help each other. Chad said, one thing I like is for someone to try to understand. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Because she hasn't tried to understand. He said, when you say I'm not trying to understand, so when you say I'm not trying to understand, it frustrates me. Because this whole time since I've met you, I've been trying to make sure that you're okay. But I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. Dr. Pierre was like, so what do you feel could happen that's sitting in the back of your mind then, Belinda? She said, I often feel uncomfortable when there's conflict. So Dr. Pierre was like, okay, so where does that come from? She was like, I think it just comes from seeing it for so long. I'm just tired of it. So Dr. P was like, so are you able to share more about what's going on so we can understand how to deal with you? She was like, yeah, my ex-husband, we were always arguing, shouting. It was constant. She said that she had gone through so many of those blow ups that they just became very scary. She said her kids had to see it and it was a lot. And she said, and after that, she created her own safe place. Every friend, she said, I made was positive intentionally because I needed to be away from that. Now I'm just at a point where I want peace. That's all I want, peace in the space I've built for myself. That's so scary because when you get to that place, and I have been in this place where you create your own space of peace, and that means eliminating people, being willing to cut people off on the drop of a dime, being unforgiving. Like you got to make your heart hard to create this kind of space. You have to put up walls in order to create this kind of space. And it's scary where Belinda is. It's scary. You have to, on purpose and intentionally, harden your heart to people and difficulties. And that's when I felt Belinda. Because at first I was just like, she a nasty bee. And I think she's still nasty, but I understand. But you can't stay stuck there. Dr. Pierce said that's a reaction to trauma. It's a reaction to anxiety. When we've been through that kind of environment, we become hyper alert to anything that even resembles what traumatized us in the past. You're becoming hyper vigilant to Chad's behaviors, even though they're not emotionally damaging like your past experience. They look familiar enough to trigger that response. And so internally and externally, you said if it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. And she says, and I'm not letting that person get close to me. I know how this ends. And Belinda was like, exactly. And the thing about it is, Chad loves her so much. I think he does. I think he's just like so in love with her that this was breaking him too. This was breaking him too. Dr. P said, but here's the reality. You can't live in a bubble. You're both are having similar emotional experience, but you're missing each other. You're trying to control your environment by avoiding conflict. And Chad, when conflict happens, your instinct is to push and to fight through it. It's all part of the same stress response: fight, flight, or freeze. You're in a flight or freeze mode, and he's in a fight mode. Dr. Pierre told him you both need to give each other grace and understanding because he's not your past. He is not your ex. You have to give each other a fair shot. You're both observing things in one another that you didn't have in a previous partner, and that's okay. It takes time. So Chad said, yeah, time's ticking though. Decision day is coming. Dr. Pierce said, right. So the question is, do you both want to be alone and single, or are you committed to working together as a couple to figure out how to navigate this? Belinda says, I don't want to live in my bubble anymore. Chad said, I'm sure it's nice though. Belinda said, maybe a little too nice. Dr. Pierce said, then maybe. The real question is, can the two of you be peaceful together? And if so, what does that actually look like? Then we get to the end of the episode. They have made a decision that all of the couples will be staying in separate places. I don't know why I dropped this paper like this, like I'm going to be feeling like seeing it on. I get it later on. I get it later on. It's bothering me. So wonderful. So anyway, they're all staying at their separate places for decision day. And we see Will. Will is at the house having a conversation with himself. He having himself a come to Jesus meeting. And he said that every time he rise up, she knocks him down. She doesn't believe in him and she dismisses and discounts everything he says. And so Will has made a decision to call Britt while she is getting ready for decision day and tells Britt he is going to say no. Urge. Urge. He gonna say no on decision day. She goes into the bathroom, takes the call. She comes back out. She said, I'm about to lose my I am about to lose my makeup artist got her stuff out, filming crew there. So they like, what's going on? She said, mm-mm. I cannot talk about it right now. He said when he thought about everything, he was like, I ain't got this to do. He said, I ain't got this to do. And he called her on the phone. Because he felt like it was better for her to know up front than to know on decision day. But Will, that's not the rules. They know what was going on. That it was so awkward. The energy was so awkward. Because I really think that they were like, okay, is she playing? Or, like what's going on? She should have walked away a long time ago. It wouldn't have took me this long to backpedal off of this. Not at all. Sometimes you got to take care of yourself. Okay? You got to. Anyway, y'all, this is the end of my review. Thank you all so much for being here. Y'all let me know what y'all think about it. Let's keep the conversation going on in the chat. If you have not already subscribed, go ahead on and hit that subscribe button. And thank you all so much for coming back and giving me high points. I really do appreciate it. I looked at it the other day and I had 5,000 high points. Thank y'all so much for loving me enough to even come back and give me those points. I really do appreciate it. Y'all, until we meet again, I need y'all to be safe out there in them streets and in the water. God bless y'all, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.